Hey, how's it going, everyone? So what am I working on now? Well, I've got a '08 Honda Odyssey. This is another vehicle from that same customer that had the Chevy van that I fixed the wiring and cylinder head and all that other stuff on. Well, the other shop strikes again. So this Odyssey, it's a commercial account that we just got. And they've been bringing their cars to this other shop, and obviously they're sick and tired of the other shop because the other shop is either not doing the right thing, well, we know that, or overcharging. Well, here's a case of overcharging. They claim that this van needs a transmission. It's an '08 Odyssey with 180,000 miles on it. Is it unheard of? No, it's not unheard of. But it's not common either. So they told them it needs a transmission. $12,000. That was the quote. $12,000 for a transmission. Excuse me? What? Yeah. I looked at the invoice. And the transmission itself was almost $7,000. Then they had labor to R&R the transmission. Then they had labor to R&R the mounts. Separate labors. You got to take the mounts out anyway? Yeah. So anyway, the customer's complaint was that it got stuck in like limp mode. And then it was fine. So the van has actually been at their shop for a little while, and now it just got towed to us. I guess they were afraid to drive it. So I haven't done anything yet except hook the scanner up to it. I have it running. It does have a check engine light on, and I just scanned it. However, the only codes it has is P0430 for cat efficiency. So if this thing was just sitting at the other shop, obviously it didn't have any codes in it. So how do you recommend a transmission? I don't know. I'm going to take this thing up the street, see what it feels like, see if it does anything abnormal, see what it sounds like. I'm actually going to check the fluid level first is what I'm going to do. This thing should have a dipstick, I think. I don't know. Well, let me see what other codes are in here. I'm doing a code scan. It just finished. Actually, no, it still didn't finish. It's almost finished. But how in the world do you come up with $12,000 on a van that's maybe at best worth $12,000? I don't know. It just seems kind of ridiculous to me. But let's see what codes we have. All right, so cat efficiency, permanent and temporary. There are no transmission codes. Tire pressure codes, airbag codes, cat efficiency, that's it. Alright. So let me go and check the fluid. Oh, on Hondas, they're a little weird. When you go to check the fluid, what you have to do is you shut them off and then you have a 90-second window. Check the fluid within that 90 seconds. And you check it in that hash mark like on other transmissions. But Hondas are a little strange like that, but that's how they want you to do it. So let me go check the fluid and see what we got. All right, so I already pulled the stick out, wiped it off, stuck it back in. And let's just make sure it's fully seated. And it's a touch low, but it's not hot yet. I haven't driven it. So that may come up, but I would say these things only hold like 3.5 quarts, so they don't hold an incredible amount. So I'm going to think that's okay for a road test, but it doesn't smell either. I did check to see if it had a stink to it, and it doesn't. So I don't know. All right, take this thing for a road test. Let's see what it does. Now, just so you could see what I was told, I found this in the car. I'm not going to show you the name of the other shop, but I figured I'd show you this. So I went up the road. I'm actually stuck right now, temporarily. The it's not a transmission. At least I don't think it is. The exhaust is plugged. This thing has no power, none. I could barely make it up the street. My shop is on a busy road, Route 55 in North Carolina, and I was able to come up the road and I made it into this plaza, and I didn't think I was going to make it this far, so I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit, then I'm going to head back. Thankfully, if you know North Carolina, South Carolina, I'm sure other states have it too, but they have that center turning lane. So it's like you have 2 lanes on one side, 2 lanes on the other, but the center is its own separate lane. So people coming one way can turn across traffic, people coming the other way can turn across traffic, and you can kind of sit in that lane. And it comes in handy too when you're trying to pull out, because you can pull out, go into that lane, and then wait for the traffic clear on the other side so you can actually merge in. So I'm going to be trying that, but this is not a transmission issue. At least I'm pretty confident it is. I've got to get the engine running right first, and it does have broken motor mounts. It feels like every single mount in this thing is broken. Yeah, so we got to get it running right first, determine if it's got a transmission problem. Right now, I'm thinking no, this thing does not have a transmission problem, but we're going to find out. Back at the shop, so I'm going to let this thing cool down. I'm going to pop the hood, leave it open. I'm going to let it cool down for a while, because now, obviously, the exhaust is steaming hot, and for me to check into exactly what's going on, I got to deal with the exhaust. So let it cool down for a while, and we're going to go from there. All right. Let's do that. Okay, so what we were going to do was we were going to pull the upstream O2 sensor out, and I was going to stick this gauge in here that Pablo made. It's a vacuum pressure gauge, and he made an attachment for the end, like such. Basically welded on a base to this. You could buy these, but he needed it in a pinch, so he made it. I was going to use that, pull the upstream O2 sensor out, but guess what? Typical fashion of the other shop, they must have cross-threaded it in place, because I can't even get the wrench on it, at least not in place. So let me just show you. I actually took the cat out. So here it is. You can see I was able to get the socket just about on there, but I could not get a good angle or anything. But I can't even turn that. I cannot turn it. So I don't know what happened. And you can see it's not fully seated either. This motor was replaced. So obviously they had this thing apart at some point in its life. But anyway, looking at the cat, there you go. There's the material. The cat's destroyed. So, question is the other cat? Don't know. Do I put one cat in it and see how it runs? I might do that. I had to pull the coils out, so I'm going to pull a plug out. One thing, I made a short video on it. I made a boo-boo. If you come down here, if you look, let me get down here with the camera. Where are we? Sorry, trying to find the correct spot. There it is. I slipped. It happens. What are you going to do? So now, I'm going to wind up having to get him a new radiator. That's what it is. Things happen. It's a shame, too. It's an original Honda radiator. So it's an old radiator. It's probably getting ready to go, but now I'm going to have to replace it. My fault. What are you going to do? Things happen. But yeah, let me move on. Let me pull a plug out, take a look at that, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so in case I wasn't clear enough, using that gauge, what you would do is take the upstream O2 out, put that gauge in there, and you would read back pressure. If you have back pressure, you know you have a restricted exhaust. I'm pretty confident that's the problem. I mean, the cat is broken apart, and I'm pretty sure it's plugged up. So anyway, that was what I was going to do. I can't get parts for this till sometime next week, so I'm going to button this up for right now. Yeah, all right. So, well, hopefully getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. Yeah, so I will make a video on this once I get the cat and put it in. Will I have to put 2 cats in? I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Is something else plugged up in the exhaust? Is it possible some of that stuff from the cat blew apart and got stuck in the exhaust somewhere else? Absolutely. We're going to find out. So, all right. Let's see what happens. All right, guys. Have a great day. Keep wrenching.